you how to use or what's changed about the new delivery portal. And this new delivery portal is designed to be used with a new app. If you are using the new app, then you do want to be using the new delivery portal. The app will be rolling out very soon. It's in the late testing stages. And the late testing stages is basically it has gone through testing with my store. It is now gone out to a select few florists who are testing it on their side. And majority of issues have been found. But it is good to get it out to more people because everybody uses things differently. And by having a wider cross section of people looking at it, it means you're more likely to find all the different issues, so that when we release it to everybody, everything is covered. As mentioned in this email, if you are somebody who likes to be at the forefront of technology and you want to be an early adopter of this app, you can now do this, and you can actually now just self-serve. You don't need permissions from us to be able to do that. If you come to your delivery portal, you will see this here. You can download the app called Digital Florists, not Digital Drivers, Digital Florists. And then if you do then decide to use that app, make sure you use the new delivery portal to create your runs, or you could use your new Scan and Go. The other thing to just warn you about, if you do decide to use the new app, it's now not a separate login for your driver. Your login is whatever your login is that you use to log in to this main dashboard. But again, as I always say, any problems, we're always here to help. We can, work out what your password is, all that sort of thing, no problem. Just ask, don't struggle. So now onto the dashboard. So if you click onto the new delivery portal, click Create Delivery Run, and you can see here that the Create Delivery modal has actually been moved over to the left-hand side. There's not too much changes here. You can select all, as you always could. You can clear them. You can select them individually. You can filter, so you can do look at just AM, look at just PM. While there's just 4 orders here, it doesn't make that much difference, but at peaks you will find these filters really, really useful. You can even filter by names, postcodes, that sort of thing. Postcodes are probably the thing you'll find you most use. The tasks are down the bottom. You can see any tasks you need to put on. What you will find with this new app, if you want to, you can just do a run of just tasks, which is something you couldn't do previously. You had to have a delivery run on. Now onto the modal. When you come over here, you can give the run a name. If you don't give it a name, it defaults one for you. You don't have to assign it to a user, and on a daily basis we don't assign it to any user, which essentially means anybody can pick it up. The only time I would assign it to a user is at peaks, and that's just because I don't want the wrong person collecting the wrong run. Fulfillment date, when you select fulfillment date, it only shows orders for that date. Once you've selected the orders, you can choose to start or end it from any of the places on the run. And you can also put any notes that you want the driver to see about that run, and you can put them in here. Now, this checkbox section here that I've skipped over, those are the new parts of the dashboard, or some of them are, because this one you always had. You can disable route auto calculation, and that is where it auto calculates the best route according to the traffic. You can switch this off, and that is something that I tend to do at peaks, because when I've got a van loaded with 30 odd bouquets in, and they're in a particular order, the driver then can't suddenly be looking for the first one as the last one as the second stop. It would be too messy. It would take too much time checking all those labels, trying to find the right one. So in those circumstances, it probably should be better for him to suck it up and deal with the traffic. The other thing you can do is lock sequence, and that just means that you can't find any it won't reroute to any other place. The checkbox for respect time requests. Now this is something that has been asked for a lot in the app. They're like, well, why can't it take into account that it's AM, or why can't it take into account that it says 10 o'clock on it? Well, now it can. You do need to click the request time request checkbox. You also need to make sure when you're doing that run, it is going out imminently, because if you were to do it at one time, it then works out based on the time it is at the time you create the run, whether you can make it to different stops in time. If you do the run and then spend another hour faffing before you get out, it could mean that you don't make those time restraints. Once you have, I'm just going to create a run. Once you've created a run, and I've respected the time constraints on that, there we go, is put the AM up at the top. I can also, based on local knowledge, move things around. So if you do need to move things, you can do that there. The other thing is that the driver can now also move things around. The other thing that you may find really useful is the history of the delivery runs. Now, if you come back into the new delivery portal and you look at the history here, you will see that that is slightly different to the previous history. A lot of this is dummy data, so the figures don't mean too much there, but some of the things that you'll find really useful are that you can find, it gives a planned duration, which is how much the delivery portal has decided should be taken. It takes into account traffic, it takes into account distance, and it also gives 5 minutes per stop, and that's how much time it thinks it should take. When you've completed your run, it actually tells you the actual duration. Now, this is really useful if you've got somebody who has a tendency to go missing or take a little bit longer than others. It means that if they are consistently showing that pattern, you can have the conversation and say, well, this is what this is showing me, that you are taking longer, we need to find out why. And sometimes it's something really simple, that somebody's doing something, they're adding a step in that just takes extra time that's often unnecessary. But at least that gives you the tools. It gives you the tools to spot it, and it also gives you the tools to have the conversation with them. And rather than, oh, they're just slow, you can say, well, you know, this is the thing. Why is this like this? It tells you how many orders, how many tasks are on the run, distance, and you can also view the run if you need to in retrospect, and you can also click into any of those orders as well that were on the run. So hopefully you will find the new delivery dashboard really useful, and the history as well. I'm thinking you'll also find that useful too.